Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Harry Scarf Talk podcast. Today, we'll be discussing Game Week 31 and all the Premier League games that will be on, including the Carabao Cup final. I'm joined with AFC Matt, and we should be joined today also by Ollie as well and by John Sinclair TV. So, hopefully, they'll be able to catch up and join into our discussion. But for now, it's just me and Matt. And as you can see, Harry is not here because he has some busy work to do with college. So he's let us take over his channel. So we'll try and do our very best. So let's jump right into it. So today we've got a game on. It's an unusual one because it's a Friday kickoff and it's Bournemouth taking on Manchester United. So I'll come on to you, Matt. First of all, how are you? How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. I've had a pretty good week. My team won last weekend. My team won midweek, and we're through to the Champions League quarterfinals. So
Yeah.
couldn't really, have had a better week. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay, but of course, Tottenham Hotspur are gaining some traction, but we can't really be comparing Arsenal and Tottenham right now, can we? So lovely to hear that you're doing great. Obviously, not so much the Arsenal stuff, but the personal life is great news. So, what's your prediction on the Bournemouth Manchester United game?
Um, I've actually been pretty impressed with Man United. In 2026, really,
Yeah.
they've probably been the best side in 2026, in my opinion. Um, in terms of points, won. And I think they're gonna continue winning. I think they're playing a Bournemouth side who are unbeaten in five, but
Yeah.
they've drawn four in a row, so they're not exactly losing, but they're not winning either, and they find themselves 10th place at the moment. If Bournemouth win, they're right up in the European race. And I think if they, drop points, I kind of think that their European, hunt is kind of over, really. But nonetheless, I think Man United will win.
Hmm.
I think that their attack has been pretty decent. Their defense improving massively from the Ruben Amorim days, and their midfield, Casemiro. He's probably going to leave at the end of the summer, but I think he's been one of their better players this season. Alongside Bruno Fernandes, who's probably been their best player. I think Man United are going to win. Are we doing score prediction now or at the end?
We can do it now.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm going to go Man United 3, Bournemouth 1.
Oh, so what I will add on to you, you mentioned that they're unbeaten in five. They're actually unbeaten in 11 games in a row. The
What?
last loss, yes, the last loss came in the 3rd of January against Arsenal, and where they lost 3-2. So they've been quite impressive in recent weeks. Obviously, they lost in the FA Cup on the 12th of January, but that was at penalties against Newcastle. Other than that, they're actually pulling a very
I am
solid
seeing that,
run
yeah.
in the Premier League. So shouldn't be understated. However, I agree with your prediction because Manchester United have so much more to fight for with the players that they have, and the Champions League spots up for the grabs. And I don't see.
When you look at their previous 4 games that they played, right? So they played Burnley away,
Yep.
then they played Brentford at home, then they played Sunderland at home, and then they played West Ham away. Now, if you look at all 4 of those games, they've scored one goal in that 4 games. Yes, they have conceded one goal as well in 4 games. But my point is that they're not really winning games. They're not really losing games either. And I think they're going to come across a Man United team who are primed at the moment. They're really primed to win games because they smell that Champions League for next season. In the Champions League spots, they're 3rd place.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
they win, because Man City aren't playing, in the Premier League, because we'll get on to why, they will be only 4 points off of Man City. And you think, if City are 9 points off of us, so yes, they've got a game in hand on us, then there's no reason why there shouldn't be any talk that Man United can't catch Man City. So I think it's going to be, a massive game for Man United. And if they win, that's huge.
I agree. Very, very, very good point that you've made, that they've only scored 1 goal in their last 4 fixtures. And these fixtures on paper look quite winnable if Bournemouth had aspirations of getting into the Europa, positions, including the Conference League. I'm with you. I believe I'm saying a 2-0 victory for Manchester United today. And because, as you mentioned, they've just got that, firepower up top, definitely. Moving on to Saturday, we start off with a 12:30 kickoff at the Amex. So we've got Brighton facing Liverpool, who had managed to beat Galatasaray quite comfortably in the end on their Wednesday fixture. So I'll go on to you, Matt, again. What's your prediction on this one? What's your thoughts on, Liverpool's recent form, the fact that they drew their last Premier League game against Tottenham Hotspur, and their last one they actually lost at Wolverhampton away from home. So could that impact the Saturday's fixture?
Liverpool were really, really underwhelming against Tottenham. If you ask general Premier League fans, they probably would say, "Oh, they're going to smash Liverpool 4-5, 6-0." And I was one of those, because I was like, I couldn't see where Tottenham were even going to get a point. But they were really underwhelming, and fair play to them, because they redeemed themselves midweek with a very, very good performance against a Galatasaray team. They were very clinical. They were very quick with their passing. And apparently Salah isn't going to be available for tomorrow. So I'm hoping to see young Rio start, because he's a very exciting player. And I believe Liverpool are away rather than home.
Yes,
I think.
It's at the Amex.
It's really interesting, this game, because I can never predict what Brighton are, in that sometimes they'll win games, sometimes they'll lose games. They're never really consistent. They're inconsistently consistent. That's what they are. Because they've got 10 wins, 10 draws, and 10 losses in the Premier League. So it's fairly even. And it's basically nearly the same for goals scored, and goals conceded. And I think that Liverpool are going to just about edge this. I think they're going to win 2-1, because it will be hard without Mo Salah, because he's a very important player for them, because he's starting to come good now. I think they just about edge it 2-1.
Fair enough. I agree. I think Brighton, since they were knocked out by Liverpool, and Hurtela's job was at serious risk, they've actually strung some, decent performances together. The only loss coming against Arsenal at home, where they were quite difficult to beat. Even, we've got the PGML coming out that they should have had a penalty in the game as well. If we look at Liverpool's performance against Tottenham Hotspur, you look at the starting 11 and it wasn't the best. They were mainly focused on that Galatasaray game. So I'm with you on this one. I see a 2-1, both teams scoring. Very good prediction. I'm on the same page as you at the minute, definitely. Moving on, we're going to Craven Cottage. We've got Fulham take on Burnley, who are pretty much certain to get relegated, not too much to play for, whereas Fulham are still thereabouts like Brighton for the European positions, but they seriously need a win. So, Matt, once again, what's your thoughts on this one?
Fulham are a weird one as well, because pretty much all season they've actually been pretty good in terms of performances, and also getting wins, and they haven't got that many draws, which I think is always a key part of the season. But then they do lose to West Ham, and that's where it kind of throws me off, because it just, I don't understand how you can lose to West Ham but beat some incredible teams. They trying to find it here. They did really well against Man United, who are doing really well. They just lost out on a last minute equaliser. and then and then they drew to Nottingham Forest, and that was a game where I thought that they would win because Forest are really under pressure. But yeah, this is a weird one. I mean, I think I pretty much predicted most Fulham results, and they've gone the complete opposite. So I'm going to predict Fulham are going to win 3-0, but it's probably going to be 3-0 Burnley, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I agree with you. I think that Fulham have been so unpredictable. Even going into that Tottenham clash, that Tottenham Hotspur had so much more to play for, and Fulham just wiped the floor with them. And then next week, West Ham wiped the floor with Fulham. So it's such an unpredictable one. Anyway, John, what about you? So currently, welcome to the show. First and foremost, I hope you're doing great. And we are currently speaking about Fulham against Burnley. So first of all, how are you? How are you doing?
Good evening to Martin, good evening to Matty. Hope you both well. Bit of a North London derby going on in a minute, but bless you both.
Keeping it respectable.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? We've got a big game on Sunday. I'm sure we're going to come on to later on, sort of thing, which is cool. But so thanks for having us on, and Harry, thanks for you watching me after all the struggles. Thanks for having me on as well. So it's all good in the hood.
Perfect. John, we are currently at Craven Cottage. Fulham take on Burnley. What's your thoughts? What's your predictions for this game?
Well, Fulham a bit up and down in a minute for me, do you know what I mean? This game should be winning. When they play football, when they're on it, they're really on it. They play some fantastic stuff with Marco Silva. And as for Burnley, look, at the end of the day, I think they've gone, to be fair. I've said this before, they're really struggling, clearly struggling, not just winning games, but also scoring goals as well. But I think it should be an easy 3 points for Fulham in my book. I think you said 3-0. I'll go with that as well. But if Fulham are to have any chance of getting to Europa Conference, they got to go on a mad run. Burnley, what can they do? I mean, they just have to play for pride now, because I think they're done. And they're just simply not been good enough. They spent a lot of money in the summer, about 40 mil, maybe more than that, actually. They spent about at least that. And they just have not got the quality to cope in the Premier League. It's as simple as that, guys. It's as simple as that. But I fully expect Fulham to win and show a bit of class. And I'm going to say 3-0.
Thank you, John. I agree. I agree with both of you guys, because if we look at the recent fixtures, Burnley they haven't won in the last 5 games, and I struggle to see any points that they can gain at Craven Cottage, especially with the fact that if Fulham win and results go their way, they could shoot up to 8th position, going up the table by 4 places. So that's a very interesting one. And now potentially one of the best fixtures on at 3 p.m. out of these two, and this is Everton against Chelsea. Chelsea in recent weeks have been deteriorating performance-wise, and the pressure is sort of growing on Liam Rossini, who has failed to take that 4th position, the Champions League places in recent weeks. So I'm going to stick with you, John, right now. What's your performance? What's your thoughts on Chelsea's recent performances going into the game and the game itself? Everton just about losing at the Emirates last weekend.
Mate, Chelsea, we could talk about Chelsea all day, but I'm not being funny, right? But this Chelsea policy is absolutely an absolute joke. I listened to Roy Jennings today, right, online, and he's so spot on. Do you know what I mean? Love and hate the guy. He is so spot on what he said about Chelsea Football Club, yeah? What they're trying to do, they're trying to do a policy where they buy young, expensive young players, yeah? If you're going to buy young, you don't pay 50, 60 million quid on players like Gittins and players like Garnacho, players like Hato, players like Jorgensen as well. Do you know what I mean? You don't spend players on that sort of thing, you know what I mean? But they're not world class. They need 4 world-class players in each position. Okay, they got Enzo Fernandez, he's world-class, but they need a world-class keeper, a world-class centre-back, and a world-class striker. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Neto is a quality player, yeah, but he's got to be more consistent for me. But they need those world-class players if they are to win titles or challenge for the titles. Chelsea are a million years away from winning the title again. They're not good enough. And I'll tell you something else as well. Liam Senior is not the right guy for Chelsea Football Club. He is not. All he is a PE teacher. Yeah, he's a PE teacher, and also he's a yes man. He is the perfect manager for the owners. Yeah, they even said a couple of years ago, Luis Enrique is not good enough for Chelsea Football Club. Well, Luis Enrique is a champion. He's a world champion. Yeah, he's won everything. Yeah, he won the Champions League as well. Chelsea not win that, but listen, at the end of the day, I mean, Chelsea, they have got problems all over the pitch, if you know what I mean. But for Everton, I think Everton's having a really good season. I mean, not that good at home, but away from home, they've been fantastic. You know, hard to beat. And David Moyes done a fantastic job. I've said that many a time. He's a perfect manager for Everton Football Club. And they got some hard-working players there. They got, for me, the best keeper in the Premier League in Jordan Pickford. I know Pete's not going to agree with me on that, but best keeper in the country for me. But I think this game could go out. It's going to be a tight game. But you know what? I think Everton will win this game. I'm going to say Everton 2, Chelsea 1.
Wouldn't surprise me at all, because Everton, even the recent performances they've been stringing together, have been very impressive. I absolutely agree with you, John, that what you've mentioned about Roy Jennings and his run. He was also mentioning the likes that there is no problem in letting Madueke go, but you cannot be replacing him with the likes of John Gitton. So absolutely spot on. There is a lack of leadership around the different positions. You don't have any leaders. It's a very similar approach that Tottenham Hotspur have taken, and it's biting back very hard. Very good. So potentially an Everton win. Let's welcome into the show Ollie. How are you, Ollie?
Ollie.
I'm good to finally get in. It took me a little bit of a while to get in. I'm so glad because I didn't think it was going to happen tonight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the rest of the games. How are the rest of us? We all right?
Absolutely good, mate. Absolutely fantastic, mate. It's been a busy week, to be fair. I've got a match day vlog to do tomorrow, so I'm gonna be quite busy for the next few months now. Like,
tell me about it. Yeah, I'm quite the same. I tell you.
Perfect. Ollie, currently we are at the new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. We're reviewing Everton against Chelsea. But before you mention your thoughts on this, I want you to give your opinion or your thoughts on the Bournemouth-Manchester United game today. And then you can jump into the Everton-Chelsea. So jump right into it.
So it was I said in the comments actually a few minutes ago while I was trying to get in that we've really struggled to score goals. I heard you two mentioning it earlier, and it's a little bit concerning at this point. And there's a bit of noise in the background for us as of today, actually, because Ernesto Valverde has been confirmed to be leaving Athletic Bilbao today. And obviously Andoni has been very strongly linked to leaving. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. So there's a lot of things going on in the background at the club at the minute. And this is a very tough game for us tonight. We're gonna be put on the back foot, I reckon. I think we're gonna put out another low block to counteract their style of play. I think we need to counter them. We need to do it effectively, and a lot of teams have struggled to take advantage of that so far, and I don't know how we're going to do that. And we've really struggled. Our forward line is really struggling with confidence at the moment. It's really bleak in terms of goals. I think defensively we've solved a few issues that we had earlier on in the season, but it's finishing off games. Burnley, we should have scored. We should have scored like twice. Previous games, Sunderland, we did dominate them in terms of shots, and it came to no avail. We still drew with them, and again today, I'm hoping we can potentially get a draw from the game. But it's tough to see us scoring more than once, and I think Man United are going to come out and score some goals. So when you guys said 3-1, I really wouldn't be surprised about that at all. Not to be negative, but it's hard to see us scoring many at the moment. It's something we need to solve, but Man United are looking good at the moment, so I'm not too confident.
Yeah. We've echoed your opinion on definitely. So what about the Everton fixture against Chelsea? Because Chelsea have got a dip in form. They're quite struggling there. So, Ollie, before we get on to Matt, what's your thoughts on this game?
Was that me or Matt?
Yes. Ollie, you, and then we'll get on to
Oh,
Matt's.
yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's difficult for Chelsea because obviously at the moment they're coming off a back of a few negative kind of results. They're going through a bit of bad form, which is to be expected for Chelsea because obviously they've just got a new manager who they're hoping to stick with long term, and it's a bit of a project for them. We've seen it at a few clubs where they're building up things. I think that's the case for Chelsea, and it's not looking great for them. And I think Everton, obviously they lost against Arsenal last time out, but they looked like they can contain teams, and I think that's what they'll be hoping to do for Chelsea. I think they'll look to try and phase them out the game, try and not let them score so many goals, not let them get chances. And I think obviously as under Rossini, they are known to not play the most exciting brand of football ever. In some games, they are looking to just get results, especially at the moment when they're trying to revive their season. That's per se, because it's been a bit up and down for them, really. Let's be fair. And I think with Rossini, they're looking to kind of revive that after what happened in midweek. And I think they'll be looking to try and just win a game, get themselves back into form. But I think Everton, they're at home. They're getting better at home. They're putting in more performances at the moment. They're in decent form, and I do fancy Everton. I think I heard you say, actually, I think Everton are going to look to get them win more likely than Chelsea, and I don't think Chelsea, this is their game to get back into form. Personally, I'm not sure what you guys think, but it's going to be tough for Chelsea to get something from this game because Everton are a really good side at the minute.
I agree. I agree definitely. What John said, what you've said. Matt, do you have the same opinion as us, or are you of a slightly different opinion?
Last weekend, I was actually very impressed with how Everton pressed us, with how well that they kept the ball, and the chances that they were getting. We just had Raya in goal, who was, absolutely, incredible on that day. He made a lot of very, very good saves. And I thought that they were the better team, if I'm honest. And I think they're going to send shockwaves to Chelsea. I think they're going to welcome Chelsea to hell, basically. I think Everton will win. And I think it won't just be a scrappy win. I think it will be a pretty comfortable win.
That's going to be such an interesting game. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. And then, as Saturday will progress onwards, 8 p.m. kickoff, Leeds against Brentford. This will all kickstart the relegation battle gossip once again. So Leeds take on Brentford. They are currently winless in 5 games. And, with a loss and potentially one of the teams winning on Sunday, they get absolutely dragged in to the relegation fight, which they are currently 3 points safe from relegation. So, Matt, I'm going to stick with you on this one. What are your thoughts on Leeds in recent weeks, and can they get something from the Leeds against Brentford game tomorrow at 8 p.m?
Leeds genuinely, if we were talking about, a month ago, I would have said Leeds are staying up, they're safe. But their results have been declining to a point where they are now in a relegation fight. Or could be pushed into it. And Brentford, Brentford are in a very, very good position, because if they win and Chelsea lose, they go above, they're level on points with Chelsea, they're just behind them because of goal difference. But Brentford are a team that I didn't expect to be just anywhere near 10th, let alone 7th. I expected them to get relegated because they lost their captain, they lost their manager, they lost their best player, or both their best players in Wissa, and in Bomo. And I think Brentford are going to put pressure on Chelsea for the game after the international break. And I think Brentford are going to win.
Brentford with a victory. I'm agreeing. I'm saying 2-1 Brentford against Leeds, but maybe Leeds can surprise and maybe they get out of the danger zone. John, what's
I'm
your
going
score
2-0.
prediction for this one? You're going 2-0. I'm going 2-1. John, what's your score prediction? Leeds against Brentford.
That's a really tough game. Leeds need to win that game because they're not out of the relegation zone. Wow, they're not clear for relegation yet. They're 3 points from the drop zone, and their running's not too bad, to be fair. But they need to win this game. It's going to be a tough side against Brentford. Leeds United, right, are 5 games out of win, 3 draws, 2 defeats. That is not good when the relegation dogfight, and they have won enough games. 7 games won this season. That is not good for Leeds United. Seriously, not good enough. 48 goals conceded. That's a worry. But Brentford are going really well. They're going great guns, yeah? I mean, they're only 3 points behind Chelsea. Yes, I'm effectively 4 points behind Chelsea. A better goal difference, by the way. However, under Keith Andrews, he's done a fantastic job there. They got no stars on that side. I mean, Igor Diago has been outstanding. Jordan Henderson, experienced, you know what I mean? And you got Shada, who plays well in goal. They've got some good players at Brentford, and they have surprised a lot of people. For me, it doesn't look good for Leeds. I've got to say Leeds to lose against Brentford. Brentford to win, I'm going to say 3-1 to Brentford.
3-1 Brentford. Ollie, are you on the same page as us?
No, I think Leeds will win. I think I'm seeing Leeds' recent results, and they haven't been good, but their performances have been pretty good. Against Sunderland, I think statistically they should have won. It's the problem where they should be putting chances away. As long as they're clinical, they can win games. And I saw Brentford's game against Wolves, and they didn't look themselves compared to what they have been. They look a bit leaky. I think in attack they look as good as always, but defensively, Leeds could cause some problems. But they've obviously struggled where Calvert-Lewin hasn't been scoring as many. He's missed a few more chances like he has been. But I see Leeds winning this, to be honest. I think eventually Brentford's form is going to take a toll, and we could see Keith Andrews was very, very frustrated with his side against Wolves, and I think Leeds are going to take advantage. They're looking to win at some point, and I think the reflection of them in the table isn't a true reflection, because earlier on in the season they had really, really bad form and it didn't look like they were going to get anywhere, and then they started winning loads of games, and I think eventually they will revive that form. It is, for them, it's just about scoring goals, and that's it. They haven't conceded that many, and obviously they played against 10 men against Palace and they still managed to get a point. So I see a win for them. I think they'll win 2-1.
You know what I would say, just really quickly, is this England call-up for Calvert-Lewin. I think this might change him in terms of, he might really start hitting some goals now, because he, at the start of the season, he was nowhere near the conversation, but he's been hitting some such good form, over this season, that he's now been called up. And I think if he has a positive end to the season and keeps Leeds up, he's got to go to the World Cup, surely.
Good point. Good point to be made. I also agree with Ollie mentioning that Brentford had absolutely struggled against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Leeds should have maybe even got more than just 1 point against Crystal Palace, where they were just down to 10 men. So that will be a very interesting fixture, especially regarding what is at stake for both teams. Now, moving into Sunday, we've got a massive game on our hands at 12 o'clock. And I will come to John. So we've got Newcastle against Sunderland, the Tyne-Wear derby, where Sunderland were victorious in December, beating Newcastle. And Newcastle have had a very difficult and rough week after exiting the Champions League, after being thrashed by Barcelona. What a better way to get back on track with the fans, to get a win against their biggest rivals in Sunderland. John, run me through what we can expect on Sunday.
What do you expect on Sunday? Well, we need to win this game. We haven't beaten these lot for 10 games, number one. Secondly, these players will have to understand what this derby means. because the last time we played them, half of them didn't understood it at all whatsoever. It was an absolute culture shock for some of these players. It's not being played before in this scene derbies here. I'm not saying it's the best derby in the Premier League. I'm not saying it's the best in the world, but this derby is up there in English football at the time we're a derby. It is going to be toxic. It's going to be absolute mayhem. And I tell you what, if you can come through this, if you can get out of this unscathed, then you know what? You have done really well. This is a massive game of all proportions, yeah. Newcastle, right? 2 games unbeaten, going in against Sunderland. Sunderland, I've lost their way a little bit. However, it's all depends on who Eddie picks. He's got to pick the right team for this game. Because I'll tell you what, we've got some good players there. We really have. I mean, Alanga scored twice and lost 7-2, yeah. Anthony Gordon, he looks like he's going to play out front again. RB Barnes will be relative as well. The back four, the defence will have to be on point. Malak Chow, I love the guy. He's got to cut out those mistakes. I know he's tired. He's got to cut them out. Dan Burn, he's a Geordie. He knows what this means. Kieran Trippier, for me, I'll drop him after that performance in the first half. Yeah, I'll play Livermore or Lewis Hall for this game. You know what I mean? Those two going to be well up for it. Aaron Ramsdale, he's got to be up for it as well. The midfield 3, you've got to see if Tonali's fit. Will he make it? 50-50. If he does, it'll be him, Jake and Ramsey, dueling in the midfield. But if he doesn't play Tonali, I've got a feeling Joe Willock's will come in his place. And then for me, that midfield ain't as that strong. Do you know what I mean? Joe Linton, he needs to be on the specific area because this is the sort of game the emotion's going to catch up on him. Yeah? And I'll tell you what, if he comes through unscathed, I think this guy will be man of the match. I think he'll be up for it on Sunday. He will know what it means. And this is a massive game. I mean, Galachaka, the other side, well, what can I say? They're one of the sons of the summer. Do you know what I mean? I think he's been excellent for Mackhams. But I truly think, and I will say, by 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and I give my cannot go because, unfortunately, I will have to go through the roadworks and that about 9, 10 o'clock on the and I'm going to say Newcastle to finally bury their hoodoo. Newcastle 1, Sunderland 0. And I think we get the bragging rights on Sunday. Enjoy it, guys. If you're watching it, it's going to be mayhem.
I'm so excited for that game. I'm being more positive than you, John. I'm saying 3-1 Newcastle. I think Sunderland in recent weeks have been...
I hope you're right, mate.
I think they've been off it completely. I think Newcastle have to amend what they did at the new camp, and they have the quality going forward. They've got key players fit like Anthony Gordon, like you mentioned, Anthony Elanga, who's had a very poor season. Finally, has got the goals in him. Harvey Barnes, you've got that firepower at the front, and I think if Newcastle get that 2-0 or 2-goal lead, I don't see Sunderland catching them in any way, shape, or form. So, Matt and Ollie, what are your predictions? Let's start with Matt on this game.
Well, I just want to quickly say that Ramsdale should definitely be starting in this game.
He has to.
Yeah, like
Liverpool finished.
Well, I hope he doesn't drop him because the fact that he conceded 7 goals to Barcelona, because majority of those goals were defensive errors.
It was.
And he's a good goalkeeper. And I always thought that he would go to Newcastle, after he left. But I'm on the wavelength that Newcastle are really going to put some goals in this, and I think they're going to win 3-0.
Can I say something as well, guys? The first goal is going to be very key in this game. First goal is going to be so huge in this game. Whoever scores first will normally go on to win the game. I hope Eddie Howe doesn't drop Aaron Ramsdale and bring Nick Pope back. If he does that and we lose the game, this is going to be on Eddie Howe.
I think he'll be sacked if he doesn't win this game.
Well, a lot of people...
He's had an embarrassing Champions League, round of 16.
And listen to these lot, it's not going to help his cause, though. It's not going to help his cause. But then again, I mean, I love Eddie Howe the bits of what he's done. But if you are going to move on to bigger and better things, if you're going to move on to the next step, is he that guy? Is he the man to take to the next level? And that's the thing.
Very good points. I don't see Eddie Howe getting sacked if he loses against Sunderland
I
because
don't.
just even when you look at the home fixture against Barcelona, they were unlucky to not actually win the game. So, Ollie, are you also predicting a Newcastle win, or are you seeing it differently, like you saw the last game that we were predicting?
Yeah, I see Newcastle winning this one. I think for them, I think the result against Barcelona was a bit of a freak result, and I don't think anyone expected Newcastle to overcome a two-legged game against Barcelona. I said that to plenty of people. They get battered over two legs, and it definitely happened. I think obviously now they're out the Champions League, they need to focus on what's next, and I think they have an objective to get as high as in the league as they can now, and that is how they want to finish their season. There's no more or less than that. Now they're out of most of the competition, as I believe they're out of all of them now, apart from obviously the Premier League. So I think with that, this result, obviously, like any Premier League game, is a big game, but obviously, the derby means a lot more, and I think they'll have the fight in them to win the game. And obviously, not only that, Sunderland look really poor. Mentioning that game against Leeds that they ended up winning, it wasn't very convincing. Win or not, it's a bit of a false kind of win, if you want to say that. Like, it's not going to improve form because they realised that they probably weren't good enough at the same time. And I think, over the other games where they've lost, they just haven't looked as good as they have been at all. And I think that sums up where they are. And I think the derby hasn't come in a good time for them. And I think they'd want to at least get a couple of wins on the board. And I think they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a good game for Sunderland, unfortunately, and I think Newcastle are gonna win 2-0. I'd say full board for you, John.
Thank you very
Ollie.
much.
Yeah,
Just to
exactly.
come in there quickly, right? It's a massive give over portions, I said, sort of thing. Newcastle United always finished the season strongly. We did it a couple of seasons ago where we just missed out on Europe because United won the FA Cup. Last season, we lost one. I think we lost last two games last season as well, and came to hope. Hopefully, we'll do a lot better this season. We beat Sunderland. I think we can push on, probably get Europa League.
Well, yeah, you're only like you're 3 points off 7th, and I'm going to assume that's Europa Conference League at least.
Yeah.
And then you can always catch up to Chelsea in the form that they're in as well. And I just don't think anything's impossible, because I think you're 6 points off them. Yeah, six points indeed. And I think it isn't impossible if you start winning games now. There's 8 games to play, and that's still quite a lot for where you are in the league at the minute.
We haven't got a bad running sort of thing. If you look at who we got left, Newcastle, we got to play, like I said, Sunderland, we've got to play Palace away. And then after that, I believe we've got to play Bournemouth for home. Then we've got to play, I think, the 25th. I'm not sure we've got on the 25th. I'll come back on that one. But we definitely got to play Brighton at home, Forest away, West Ham at home. And then we got to play Fulham away. And that is not a bad running for Newcastle United, if you know what I mean. But that's going to be really interesting. But we've got to win those kind of games if we are to get in European football, because we've got a great squad there, and we just got to do something about it real quick.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at your fixtures, I think that you can leapfrog both Everton and Brentford for at least 7th position. So you make a great point there. And just realising right now that Sunday football fixtures before the international break are absolutely amazing. So we start off with Sunderland against Newcastle against Sunderland. Then we've got relegation battles all over the pitch. We've got Aston Villa against West Ham, Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest. Then we've got a Carabao Cup final. And to end the day, we've got Real Madrid to take on Atletico Madrid. So absolutely insane fixtures on the Sunday. So let's move on to Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest. Now, I will leave a very quick review before John takes over. Thank you, John, for taking over. So Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest, a massive 6-pointer. Everything is on the line before the international break. Tottenham Hotspur will not play for the 3 weeks, hopefully getting Mohamed Kudus and Rodrigo Bentancur back. However, losing Guglielmo Vicario for at least the game against Sunderland. after the international break. Now, Nottingham Forest progressing through into the Europa League quarterfinals where they will take on FC Porto. And Tottenham Hotspur finally have a win under Igor Tudor. He is the first manager in history of Tottenham Hotspur to need 6 games to win a game of football. And this will be an absolutely gigantic game. Now, I will just leave my score prediction and I'll leave it over to Ollie. I'm saying, obviously, very positive Tottenham fan. So 2-1 Tottenham Hotspur to sort of get one foot into the safety zone. Now, I unfortunately have to leave. So John, Matt, and Ollie, thank you so much for being on with you guys. Lovely to meet you. Thank you, Harry, as well, for the opportunity. I wish you all a lovely, lovely evening. See you later.
Thanks a lot, Martin. Thanks for coming on,
See you
mate.
later, mate.
Good luck on Sunday. Yeah,
So,
that's smart. Go on, Carol. Go for it.
Tottenham Forest. Well, we saw in the Champions League midweek it was quite a difficult result for Tottenham. I believe, and also Forest actually they progressed. I think that's a big confidence booster for them. Obviously Forest in the Premier League recently, I think it's been difficult for them. Obviously same for Tottenham, but I think out of the relegation teams, we're saying probably West Ham at the moment are looking the most confident, and then Tottenham and Forest are struggling. So it's difficult for both of these sides in this game. But Tottenham do need to win a game at some point, and I think out of the games that Tottenham has played under Igor Tudor so far, I think the Atletico Madrid game, they did show a lot of fight and they showed a lot of resilience, which they haven't done in previous games. And I think that is an indicator that Tudor is potentially getting there. And I personally do see a positive result for Tottenham in this game. I think at some point they're going to win some games, and I think they've got the momentum from a fighting result in the Champions League, although it wasn't obviously a good result over the 2 games. But I think Tottenham are looking to get that win. I think they will do, because Forest don't look like they have enough quality, despite them obviously having a lot of quality on paper, and I think that's what makes them struggle a lot. And I think with Martin, I think it will be a 2-1 victory to Tottenham.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well, mate. I'm going to say Tottenham 2, Forest 1. Forest problems is not scoring enough goals in the Premier League. That's the problem. Losing Chris Wood is a massive, massive miss. He's been out for quite some time now, and they're badly missing up front. They're missing that focal point up top. And that's the thing. I mean, defensively, they're okay and not that bad, but it's just not scoring goals. But I think they know what's at stake. Again, the first goal is going to be very, very key. Having watched Tottenham against Atletico Madrid on the other night, I thought they were really good. Xavi Simons will have to start the game. Matthias Tell plays on the proper position on the left side of midfield as well. And Golan Muani, I think that he's got a good header against Atletico Madrid, but he needs to keep it going now because he's not had a successful time in Tottenham. That is the thing. Now they've got Cuti Romero and Michael van der Ven at the centre of defence, and those two can make a difference. If they defend well, Spurs wins that game. But Kinski is back in goal, isn't he? Because, like you said, Vicario's out injured, sort of thing. So I think Forest are going to test Kinski big time, and they will. And I think the Spurs back 4, back 3 will have to be on their guard. Simple as that. But I think Spurs have enough. I think Spurs score later on to win 2-1. Hello?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, just quickly.
What's your take, mate?
Tottenham Forest. I think they've kind of kicked themselves in the foot here, because obviously Vicario's slightly injured. He's having surgery next week. I understand he's going to start the game, but he can't be on full fitness. And this game is going to be a dogfight, really. And sort of the question is who's going to want it more. And I don't think it will come down to who's got the best players, because I genuinely think it's who wants it more, really. Because it's at home, I'm going to go 2-1 Forest because Tottenham at home. Yes, I know they got their result, midweek, but this is the Premier League. They haven't won a Premier League game in 2026, and we're coming to April now. And I just think that's going to continue. I think Forest are going to grind out a 2-1 win and put even more pressure on Tottenham in the relegation fight. And I think Forest are going to move slightly out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting there, sort of thing. I mean, Spurs can't afford to lose this game tomorrow. If they do, actually be in big, big trouble. Look at the fixtures they got left. They got Sunderland, Wolves away. They got Brighton at home, Villa away. Then they got to play Leeds at home. Then they got to play Chelsea away, and then at home to Everton. I mean, the last few games are not easy.
Yeah.
Spurs need to be out of the relegation zone by me. If they don't, it doesn't look the best for them whatsoever.
Well, I think the relegation fight will go down to the last day with all teams. I think it will.
I think you're right, mate. I think
it's just so close at the moment. It's just so close.
It is. It is. We'll see what happens on Sunday. We're going to the next game. Have you done Brighton Liverpool yet? I don't think we have, haven't we?
Yes. Yeah, we have done Brighton Liverpool.
Okay, cool. Well, I was going to say Brighton. Brighton won, Liverpool won in that game. So we move swiftly on to another game, which we covered Newcastle, Villa, and Spurs. The next we're going to cover is the big one: is the English League Cup final, the Carabao Cup final. Arsenal versus Manchester City at Wembley. The top two, which you expect, are there. I'll start with you, Matt, and your team. Go on, Arsenal in the final. It's going to be the first trophy out of 4 for a possible quadruple. Talk to us, man.
I hope so. I'm heading into the final with a lot of confidence and a lot of optimism because of our recent performances. I think that Everton win, we needed to win like that to fire the fans and supporters, to fire the team onwards. And in the manner that we won that, I think it just brought everyone so together, and we're kind of in this together, really. And then we put up a really, really good performance against Bayer Leverkusen. Probably arguably one of our best performances of this season in terms of how quick we were moving the ball, how quick our passing was, how clinical we was, and just a very, very good performance. And I think heading into this game, will give us a lot of confidence. It will be interesting to see what Pep Guardiola does in terms of how he sets up, because the last time we played him, he did something I've never ever seen Pep do in his entire career, where he just let us have the ball and he just sat back and just waited. I don't think he's going to do that this time, because we're a different team to them what we were at the start of this season. I don't think he's going to go all gung-ho football, but he is going to go for it. I think both teams will play their reserve keeper. I think it's already confirmed that James Trafford will start the cup final for Man City. I think we're going to start Kepa as well, because he's our cup keeper. He's actually done pretty well, in the games that he has played. He's made some very, very good saves, and he's kept a lot of clean sheets for us. And I hope we win, and I think we will win, to be honest, because with Arteta in his playing career, he's played 4 times at Wembley. He's won all 4. In his manager career so far, he's gone there 3 times and he's won 3 times. He's 7 out of 7. I think he's going to make 8 out of 8, and I think we're going to win 2-1.
2-1 to Arsenal to win the first of 4 trophies. Well, good luck with that on Sunday, my friend. Ollie, we fly for this man. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I back Arsenal as well. To be fair, I think I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm thinking this is their season that they're going to win trophies, and I don't think it will be the last trophy they win this season either. I'm seeing the strongest team and also the strongest system that Arteta has put out since he's gone to Arsenal. It's not just on the players. I think it's the manager realizing that potentially you can't play attractive football every single game. You have to go out and get results, even if it isn't a pretty game. And I think that's what has excelled Arsenal. And I think they have the better of City this season. I think City having one of those seasons where not everything's gone right. They've signed some players, they look better, but I don't think they're going to better Arsenal. I'm watching Arsenal, like, some of these games they're playing, and I think they're brilliant. And I don't think they'll be stopped by City. And I don't think they'll be stopped by City in this game. And don't forget, I think as well, it's been a long time for Arsenal to be able to win some sort of, trophy that they've wanted to win. And it's been a hard journey for them, and they'll have more fight to win a trophy more than Man City, who have obviously won a lot in the past. Obviously, it sometimes doesn't prove anything because there's a reason why they win so many trophies. But I think looking at Arsenal with the squad they have and the way they're playing at the moment, I don't see them losing this. And I agree with Matt. I think they'll win 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to Arsenal, and because I think Arsenal will be too strong for Man City as well, sort of thing. I mean, Erling Haaland's off the boil at the minute, like in the league. Yes, he scored the other night, and I know Doku is playing well, but without any success. I mean, you got Semenyo. I mean, could be on it. Gay, if he's on it, I think City's got a better chance. But for me, I think Arsenal will be too strong all positions, and I'm afraid to say, I think I'm going to go Arsenal 2, Manchester City 0. And so we just go through the quick comments as well. Make sure you smash the likes. Do follow Harry Scarf's YouTube channel. So let's go on from Ryan from Seattle. Bigger to Ryan, Newcastle fan down on the Magnums. And everyone said hi to Ryan just in time. Ryan, there's other options, but the win for Newcastle. I'm afraid Eddie will put Port back in and use the Champions League match as an excuse to drop Ramsdale. He was absolutely hung out to dry by our defence against Barca. Ryan, you're absolutely right, mate. And Eddie Howe cannot afford to pick Nick Pope. I've always said the moment Pope did have a stake against Everton, the guy is done. Seriously, he's absolutely done at the football club. And I'm sorry, you've got to keep Aaron Ramsdale in. If he picks Nick Pope in and we lose that game, it's going to be on Eddie Howe. The team selection will be absolutely wrong. He's going 3-1. Sunderland's go over low block. We have not done well this year against that. We have to overcome it finally. Ryan, again, you do talk sense if you watch Seattle. Big up to Ryan Seattle, by the way. I appreciate that. And that's going to be it then for the Premier League previews and the Calendar Cup as well. Thank you so much for the chat joining in as well. Thanks so much, guys. Well, sorry about earlier on. Cracking show as usual, and make sure you do subscribe to Scarfey's Talk Spurs and Harry Scarf channel as well. And Matty, where can we find you on your channel? Thanks for coming on, mate.
I'm on Twitter. I still call it Twitter these days. I'm AFC Matex at here on Twitter.
Cool stuff. And Ollie, thanks for coming on, my friend. Always a contributor on Harry's channel. Where can we find you? And good luck tonight against United.
Yep, I'm not feeling too confident about it, but hopefully, let's see. Simply AFCB on Twitter/X, but I'd also rather call it Twitter as well. Thanks as always. Sorry about it's been an absolute nightmare for me, but I'm glad I finally was able to get on. And sort it out, because I was worried that I'd not be able to get on the next podcast. So I don't know what was going on with my camera, but I'm glad to be on and looking forward to coming on again. Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime, my friend. And if you can find me on John Sinclair TV, I do the match day vlogs all over the country, from England, Scotland, Northern Ireland. I'm going to do Republic of Ireland in the summer as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, guys, as well. And tomorrow I'll be at Bramhall Lane, Sheffield United versus Wrexham for match day vlog. And then the following Saturday, I'll be going to a non-league game, Runcorn Linnets versus Bury FC. So there you go, guys. So if you do like the video, like what you watch, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and enjoy your weekend wherever you match you go to. And have a fantastic weekend and have a good one.